Welcome to The Explainer. Look, today we're diving into something that literally impacts every single one of us, our free time. I mean, we're living in an era that is completely unprecedented in human history. We've just never had this much free time on our hands before. But are we actually using it to win the game of life? Or are we kind of just letting it slip away? Today, we're going to unpack the ultimate strategy for taking that time back. To really wrap your head around the scale of this, just think about the crazy convenience of modern life. Take food, for example. Getting a single meal used to take our ancestors hours, maybe even days of intense, grueling labor. And today, you can have a hot, fully prepared meal dropped right at your doorstep in under 30 minutes. That massive shift has freed up enormous chunks of our day. But the big question we gotta ask ourselves is, what are we actually doing with all those extra hours?
Well, this comparison really hits the nail on the head. If you look at a few centuries ago versus today, the contrast is just staggering. Historically, almost all our jobs required physical survival. Tending to farms, hammering out tools in a workshop, constantly moving and lifting. Today, the vast majority of us are pretty sluggish. We're sitting hunched over computer screens or standing stationary at cash registers. We've totally lost that natural built-in physical exertion.
Which leads us to a pretty stark reality highlighted by the source material. Instead of utilizing this amazing gift of unprecedented free time, it points out that a lot of us just default to effortless distractions. We veg out in front of the TV, fire up the gaming console, or, turn to things like weed, alcohol, drugs, or pornography just to burn the time away. It's a tragic contrast to how we could be using our greatest resource. But hey, it definitely doesn't have to be this way. According to the source, there's a 4-part master plan, basically your cheat codes for life. We're looking at building energy through exercise, reading the instruction manual, training your brain with meditation, and finally, pursuing your passion project.
Okay, let's dive straight into level 1, build energy through exercise.
Physical vitality is the absolute foundational requirement to play this game. See, because we aren't getting that natural exercise our bodies crave from our modern jobs, we have to artificially inject it into our routines just to function right. And I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, doesn't it? Spending energy to get energy? But studies definitively prove that people who work out actually have way more energy throughout the entire day. Without that physical stamina, you're inevitably going to crash. And when you crash, boom, you default right back to those effortless, time-wasting traps like binge-watching Netflix. You literally need energy to be active during your free time.
Now, don't worry, you don't need to be some professional athlete to build this foundation. The source recommends a super simple workout program called Starting Strength. It is an incredibly easy entry point to just get the ball rolling on your fitness. By simply committing to a basic routine like this, you secure that crucial everyday energy you're going to need for the rest of the levels.
Moving right along, we hit level 2. Read the instruction manual.
Let's see how this built. The source makes a great point. Much of what we learn in school is pretty much outdated the minute they hand you that diploma. It's practically useless for actually navigating the real world. Because of this, the general population is completely missing vital, everyday skills. We're talking managing finances, social skills, dating, diet, and fitness. These skills are practically non-existent among the masses, but as the source points out, this is actually a massive advantage for you. It means you can easily climb to the top because, well, let's be honest, your competition kind of sucks.
So how exactly do you get these skills? There's a really powerful strategy highlighted here. A famous entrepreneur once said that you can become an expert in literally any field by reading just 3 books on the subject. 3 books! That's all it takes to acquire the cheat codes for life. It really is that simple.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how the math works out. By just reading 3 targeted books on a specific subject, your knowledge instantly shoots past 99% of people out there. You leap from the uninformed masses straight into the top 1%. You're effectively reading the instruction manual for life that everyone else is just completely ignoring.
But you can't just pick up any random book. To succeed in the game of life, you've got to focus your reading specifically on self-development books. Why? Because they give you practical knowledge. We aren't talking about abstract theory here. It's actionable, real-world information that you can take and immediately apply to your everyday life to see instant results.
All right, that brings us to level 3, train brain with meditation.
So, now that we've got the energy and the knowledge, it's time to train the brain itself. I know, meditation might look incredibly boring on the surface, like you're just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. But let's demystify that for a second.
Meditation is not about emptying your mind into some blank void. It's actually a highly active mental workout. You are literally training your brain to learn how to control what thoughts to focus on, and maybe even more importantly, which thoughts to ignore. Mastering this specific skill is absolutely crucial for becoming a happier person.
In fact, the source material makes this incredibly bold claim. If you were to ask for the single most impactful habit that could instantly change your life and give you way more mental energy throughout the day, the immediate, zero hesitation response is meditation. It's really that transformative.
And you know what the best part is? The barrier to entry is just remarkably low. You don't need to go sit cross-legged on a mountaintop for hours on end. Meditating for just 10 minutes a day is more than enough to start reaping these massive benefits. It's a tiny fraction of your day that yields an absolutely enormous return on investment for your headspace.
And finally, we arrive at level 4, pursue your passion project. This right here is what we can call the main quest. The source believes that every single one of us has a passion that triggers our inner child. You know, that specific thing that brings out a deep, genuine excitement, where instead of dreading the time spent on it, you just get completely lost in the exploration. This could be literally anything: dance, art, writing, or even launching a massive charity like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. Whatever this hobby is, it is your ultimate source of fulfillment. Without it, you're just never going to feel completely whole.
So the crucial point is understanding how all of this connects together. There is a very good reason the passion project is the final step. The first 3 levels are quite literally the fuel for this 4th level. Think about it. Exercise gives your body the physical energy to actually focus on your hobby after a long, exhausting day at work. Reading gives you the direct knowledge to grow and improve in that hobby. And meditation, that gives you the mental headspace and the creativity required to execute it. They all work in perfect, seamless synergy.
And if you stick with this consistently, you reach the ultimate prize. The source argues that if you work on your hobby long enough and truly hone your craft, it can eventually transition into a brand new source of income. Once you reach that stage, your daily dread is completely transformed into pure excitement. You are finally, truly playing the game of life on your own terms.
Look, we have so much free time in the modern world, more than any humans before us could have ever dreamed of. And now you've got the 4 cheat codes: exercise, reading, meditation, and your passion project. The instruction manual is sitting right there in front of you. So I'm going to leave you with this one provocative question. How are you going to spend your free time today?